So pull off of that sled. What's the track like out there this afternoon?
Right now the track's in very good shape. It looks a little wet, but it's taking some power. It hauled my motor down more than I expected.
Dickerson's a New Yorker from South Charleston, Ohio. Here's Danny Dean in the Rooster. He's going to come out and pull now. You know, Army, I thought it was interesting during the early portion of this program. We saw one of these things actually blow up, the engine block blow up, and that illustrates the point you're talking about of actually bombs underneath these things.
Yeah, these guys they're setting to straddle a bomb right now is what they're looking for. You can tell when the horsepower really goes in the engine when the smoke turns black. You notice it right now? Wow, when you see black, coal black smoke, you're looking at maximum horsepower. And Danny Dean, as so many times before, look at this, a full pull. This guy is a legend in this class.
Bye-bye, he's gone. Danny Dean's a full pull.
Well, Danny, a run like that is why you guys work so hard.
Yeah, I had a really nice run there. Everything just went pretty much perfect. Come across the track, hit some ruts. I thought that was going to do me in, but you went ahead and carried her on out. That was a good run. I'm pretty happy with that.
So Danny Dean's Rooster with a full pull. We'll see just how many may be able to join him in taking it out at Bowling Green. Brett Berg is out of Farmington, Minnesota. The tractor is known as Never Enough.
Keep an eye on the spoke. It's going to tell you the whole story about horsepower. It's gray now, getting darker, getting darker, getting darker. He looks at it, rolls on the clutch. Watch the rear wheels. These tractors, now watch how the tire has a tendency to go front, back, putting the horsepower to the track. Never enough. Is he going to do it, Scott?
Yes, he's out of there. A full pull for Never Enough and Brett Berg.
Scott, you better be good.
Santa Claus making the rounds in Bowling Green, and the present right now for Brett Berg is a full pull.
Everybody likes truck and tractor pulling. Santa's no exception. He's having a ball.
Brett got her out there. You know, one of the things about super stock tractors, Army, this is really a color-coded sport. I mean, there's guys who wear all green and cheer for the green. You know what I mean?
You know, it's interesting you should say that as we have one of the strongest John Deeres in the country coming up in the process of being repainted. He showed up not in color. He's not green, but believe me, all the John Deere fans are pulling for him, and look at this. I can see why. Another full pull, Scott.
Ernie Connor's Bad Medicine takes it out of here at Bowling Green, Ohio.
Explain to me in this class how one puller comes out like Danny and look like he's going to be the only one to be there, and then all of a sudden back-to-back full pulls. Do you guys learn something that you put to use later?
Every time somebody makes a pass, you can always, if you watch him, you can learn something from his pass about his balance or see how his tires work and how he comes out of the hole. Just a lot of little details like that you have to keep an eye on, and then you know you got to make your own decisions where you want to go down the track. But every time somebody makes a pass, you learn something from it.
Ernie Connor's Bad Medicine, Army, all his weight is in the back, in front of the back wheel.
Yeah, Ernie had all his weight right in front of the rear axle. Now look at the next vehicle that comes out. Russell comes out, no weight in front of the rear axle, in front of the rear tires. Everybody's got their own theory as to what works.
This is Rob Russell, who provided you some thrills in Memphis last year.
Yeah, and they weren't cheap thrills either. We were standing on the end of the track when he had one of the most violent explosions I've ever seen in my life. We use the expression of like sitting on a bomb. That's exactly what happened. The engine actually came out when like 35 or 40 feet in front of the vehicle. Just a huge explosion at the 290-foot mark last year. Not going to be the case today in Bowling Green.
The engine's fine, the weight's wrong. Rob Russell, a little bit short.
We just get word 299, but usually you got to buy a ticket if you're going to take a ride like that. What happened up there?
I just missed out on my weight. Last night we ran this sled and I couldn't get hooked up too good, and so I took a weight back. Track was a little bit better than I thought it would be. I really hooked up hard, and it's just a mistake on my fault.
Best show of the day if that counts for anything.
well, I'm glad for that much anyway.
Once again, very obvious how much he was off on the weight, Army.
Well, you know, he was off on the weight, but everybody wearing red and the backs of that particular brand of tractor, they're all we're proud of him. I can't get over how proud these people are of their particular brand of product. It's amazing, isn't it, Scott?
Yeah, and the John Deere people are standing now. Our final competitor will be Ronnie Goodrich from Wakefield, Virginia. This is Super John, the John Deere. He's trying to join three others in a pull-off.
Left hand goes on the steering wheel, right hand's on the throttle. You can see him pumping the brake, trying to get a John Deere in a pull-off. What's going to happen? Now watch the rear tires. The wrinkle will come in. It'll look like they work back and forth. The horsepower's there. The black smoke tells you that. Will Super John be in a pull-off?
Yes, he's gone to make it 4 in the pull-off. And anytime you follow the TNT All-American Pulling Series in Bowling Green, Ohio, you can expect to see that, a packed grandstand. And they love watching the super stock tractors. We're in the pull-off army. Here's the rooster, Danny Dean.
Danny Dean, the man that set the pace in the first round. First one to make a full pull. Really leaning on the horsepower. Look at the International. Dean has everybody standing. If you like red, you like Dean, and you're in the lead.
Axel at 285.10. That'll be something to shoot at. Danny Dean and the rooster.
Well, Danny, you've laid all your cards on the table. Do you think you're holding a winning hand?
I don't know. I wasn't just real happy with that run, but we'll just have to see. This track has a tendency to go away a little bit in the pull-off, so we'll just have to see. I didn't think that weight would make that much difference. I thought I ought to be able to truck her out again, but the track may be going away already.
We're going to find out. That looked awfully good, though. Brett Berg will now try to beat it in Never Enough.
You know, Scott, if you ever have an opportunity to go to one of these events, watch the driver. The driver is so much a part of these vehicles. You have a tendency to watch that big weight sled and watch the tractor, but believe me, that driver is working for a living up there between those huge tires.
Unfortunately, though, for Brett, well short at a little over 269 feet. Our next pull-off competitor, Ernie Connor, Bad Medicine. Army, Danny Dean, after making his pull, said he thought the track would go away.
Well, in this sport, the track will go away when it does not repack. Now, after every run, there are some grooves laid down in the track from the pulling vehicle and the weight transfer sled, maybe only an inch and a half deep. The track crew goes back and repacks those grooves. When the track goes away, it means they did not pack them back as tight as they originally were, Scott.
So coming up short, Ernie Connor, Bad Medicine, a little over 271 feet. That means there's one more, the big green tractor, the John Deere Super John. Ronnie Goodrich from Wakefield, Virginia, has to beat 285 feet, a little over that, to win it.
We got an International in the lead. That's a red tractor. A John Deere going after him. That's a green tractor. This is the kind of stuff that'll start a war in the truck and tractor pull game. Who's going to win it?
It's close. It's close, but I don't think he got there. Let's check the official distance for Super John, the John Deere, Ronnie Goodrich. It will be just a little bit short. The distance is coming up at 281 feet and 8.6 inches, a little over 3 feet short.
Well, Danny Dean seemed to have this track figured out today, Scott, in Bowling Green. He keeps talking about the history of the track. As this replay comes up on the screen, you notice the smoke is good and black, making the horsepower, the weight's just right, and the top five come up on the scoreboard.
The International, the Rooster, Danny Dean wins it. The John Deere, Super John, Ronnie Goodrich second. The Bad Medicine, Never Enough, the other pull-off tractors, and Workhorse rounded out the top five at Bowling Green. The TNT All-American Pulling Series on tough tracks outdoors at Bowling Green, Ohio for the National Tractor Pulling Championships. And what in the devil's going on there, Army?
Well, Scott, what the driver's doing, he's taking a screwdriver and prying the track, trying to figure out where the track will actually hold the horsepower. Where the hardest part of the track is, that's where you can put the most horsepower. Modified four-wheel drive trucks in Bowling Green today. And this is James Holman and Foreplay. This will be the test hook. Now, Holman is really a strong runner, runs a big cubic inch motor, and everybody's watching him to figure out what it's going to take to make this track work. Hey, and this kid's laying down a good shot in Bowling Green, Scott. Now, of course, you'll have the option of taking it or turning it down, dropping it, and coming back. It is a good-looking pull, though, at 283, 11.3 inches. Here's Army with James Holman. Well, part of getting a truck and tractor pull going is getting the sled set. Now, right now, discussion's going on about whether or not the sled is good or bad. We just received word it looks like they're going to leave it like it is. How do you feel about that decision?
I think that's the right decision. I think they got a good setting on the sled.
So, it looked like you made a good run. Are you satisfied with it?
Yeah, it hooked up real good and worked the motor at the end. I'm happy with the run.
See, it was an excellent run, and he really got it on down the track very well. So James Holman getting a good distance down, 283 feet, 11.3 inches. Now, here's a guy who will flat come after him, Donnie Sanders and the Tennessean. Donnie Sanders is definitely chasing these national points. He is in a battle royal with Holman, who'll be coming out a little bit later. I'm keeping a lot of bounce to the left side. Scott, that can hurt him. Trying to go to the other side of a 283. Using the Chevrolet for horsepower. The weight comes up on the sled. All right. Waiting on the distance. He got him. 292 22 and change. So Donnie Sanders and the Tennessean is now the man they're trying to beat at Bowling Green.
The people that know this track say this track is going to get awfully good if and when the sun comes out. So what do you do in a case like that? You got to be the only guy here hoping the clouds stay on top of this thing.
Well, Army, I tell you, the looks of things right now, the sun's not coming out, and we've had a lot of bad weather. I think I made a good run right here. It's going to take a good one to beat it.
He almost took it out. 292 and change for Donnie Sanders, the Tennessean. Now from Miramar, Florida, Glenn Davis brings out Mr. Sparkle. He's going to line up on the right side of the track, which is completely opposite from everybody else so far.
Well, Glenn Davis takes the Mr. Sparkle Chevrolet, and he's reading the track. You've got to remember, these guys are constantly looking, trying to figure out where to put the bite. He's laying all his cards on the right side of the table. Is that the right place to be? We're going to find out right now. Lead distance, 292 and change out of Tennessee. Florida going after him on the right side. Scott, what does it look like?
He's going to get close, pulling. I think he's got him. Let's wait for the official distance, and there it is. Mr. Sparkle, 296.29.
Glenn, you put the Sparkle Chevrolet in that #1 spot, and with the track conditions out